Please stop telling me to just drink more water or use essential oils. Um, Here in this video, I'm going to go through some tips to handle all of the wonderful folks in your life. Well, that sounds really bad. Handle all the wonderful folks in your life. To be able to navigate conversations with folks in your life who want to offer easy solutions for something that is medically complicated. I say this as a mom who also has had some experience, not just momming in mom life, but being a Black mom and being a Black mom who breastfed. One of the things that I was really fortunate for just very early in my momhood is being able to have a local La Leche League. In La Leche, I'm so thankful one year, right before the holidays, they handed out this piece of paper that said, pass the bean dip, please. And so what it is essentially is a cute little story to be able to help teach moms who are breastfeeding how to navigate the holidays and how to navigate unsolicited advice or toxic positivity. So how the story goes essentially is that let's say you're at a party, and again, this is from the little late trade point of view. You're at a party, and somebody's like, "Oh, well, are you sure your baby's eating enough?" And then you make some sort of response to that person, like, yes, I've been checking in with my pediatrician and we're on a good plan. Can you pass the bean dip, please? And so what essentially it is to have some sort of a short response to that person who's offering their unsolicited advice, and then also to use some sort of a redirection. So another example of that would be, well, you're breastfeeding your baby. You know that is making your child really spoiled. You're really spoiling your child, and so you can say, well, this is the decision that my partner and I have made on how we're going to raise our child. Can you pass the bean dip, please? And so it's just like it's a quick response, but then you're exiting the conversation. And so I actually think that that's a great technique, and I'm so thankful for that practice with La Leche, especially early or in my career as a clinician. That was wonderful practice. I'm getting a second dose of that lesson in terms of chronic illness. And so part of how that looks for me is like um, going, talking to different people or talking to just even different providers and saying, listing my symptoms, listing why I'm there, and them saying things like, have you tried drinking water? And it's not quite as easy as pass the bean dip, please, like where we respond and just say, pass the bean dip, please. But have you tried drinking water? You're probably just dehydrated. My response is, yeah, I get that a lot. And so I actually drink 2.5 to 3 liters of water a day with electrolytes, and I've been managing my blood work with my internal medicine practitioner. Usually that's enough to, answering that question, but then also having in another person that is aligned with you. Usually that's enough to kind of stop that process in its tracks. Sometimes there's follow up. If you're seeing a medical provider, usually that's enough to kind of like, ooh, okay, the easiest solutions are not going to work for this person. Or, have you tried walking? I'm like, yeah, I have a dog. I walk my dog, at least, 4 to 5 times a week, at least a couple times a day. And so, depending upon weather, that's what we do. So, um, so then people are like, oh, okay, again, the easy solution is probably not going to work so much. So that tends to help out a lot in terms of working with medical providers who are not familiar with my case and my symptoms. But in terms of everyday people, one of the things that I would add to that, the Pasadena bean dip, please, is I would add saying something, just kind of answering the question in a way that feels like it's not a violation of my boundaries, of just sharing just enough. And then usually what I'll do is I'll do something to kind of validate that other person's concern. And then I'll usually change the subject in some sort of way. So that might look like this. Like, let's say somebody, I'm at an event and they're like, hey, we missed you last time. I'm like, yeah, didn't have a good day the last time we were all getting together. So then my response, their response might be, well, you really should just try some essential oils. I'm really sure that some essential oils would just make it all better for you. My response, I'm an essential oils person. I love essential oils. My response would probably be something like, yeah, I actually love essential oils. I've been working really closely with my internal medicine practitioner and all of my specialists to make sure that we have a great treatment plan. But thank you so much for your concern. I really hear how you're trying to take care of me. I want to just kind of hang out with you. You know, I want to make sure that we're kind of, I want to enjoy this time while we're together. Is that okay? We can kind of hang out or do something fun or, so I would add in the redirection towards the end after a validation if it's a relationship that's important to me. And so I feel like those pieces are just really helpful in terms of navigating these kind of sticky spots um, because people, they do want to help. And I do understand how people will want to give kind of like low hanging fruit, these easy solutions that should work. Um, but I think sometimes people become, in their effort of care, they have a tendency to want to try to fix something and to oversimplify that problem. And so it's easy if you're on the receiving end to get frustrated, especially if you didn't ask for the advice. It's very easy to get frustrated. And so sometimes I have to just even remind myself just to take a breath, and I'm actually pretty private about, the range of symptoms that I experience or just how it really affects my day. And so a lot of people who are in my social circle, like as I've just started doing some of these YouTube videos, they're like, I didn't know you had an autoimmune disorder. I'm like, me too. I'm in the learning journey. I'm trying to figure this thing out. So um, I try to make my sure my relationships are not around the autoimmune disorder, but that my relationships are just my relationships. And so I'm pretty upfront in my relationships to be able to say that, like, hey, look, like, I don't I don't want to use this time where we're out eating, we're at this great restaurant. I want to be able to use this time just to spend time with you. How are you? I appreciate you trying to help me. How are you? And usually those folks that are in my circle, that they're like, oh, okay, and they'll just kind of go into sharing how they're doing, or they'll ask me a question more specifically about how I'm doing, instead of just offering unsolicited advice or some toxic positivity that's not always helpful. So hope this was helpful for you. And my name is Virginia. I'm a licensed mental health therapist, and I hope to see you next time.